Good morning, Year 2, and welcome to week 6 of your learning. Just one more week until half term. I'm really excited this week because we're going to carry on with measurement. However, this week we are going on to weight and mass and finding out what mass objects have or what they weigh. For your warm-up today, I would like you to get your 100 square available. You can either use the one on the screen or you can use one printed if you have it. I'm going to give you some numbers to find, but I'm going to say it using the place value. For example, find this number, 3 tens and 4 ones. Well done, Year 2. You should have correctly put your finger on the number 34. Now, keep your finger on this number, but with your other hand, I would like you to find this number, 5 tens and 4 ones. Off you go. Well done, you should have your finger on 54. And finally, I would like you to find 3 tens and 1 1. Well done, Year 2, you should have your finger on the number 31. So now I would like you to order them from smallest to largest and tell your adult how you know you are correct. Well done, Year 2. If you told your adult that 31 was the smallest number and that 54 was the largest number, you may have justified this by saying that 3 tens is less than 5 tens, but some of you may have spotted that you also had 3 tens in 34. So you would have had to have told your adult that 1 1 is less than 4 ones and therefore 31 is the smallest. See if you can now play this game with one of your adults at home. Ask them to give you 3 numbers and then order them from largest to smallest. Pause the video and come back when you're ready. Brilliant game playing, Year 2, and now it's time for your first challenge of the day. So today we are going to be comparing the mass of different objects. To begin, I would like you to talk to your adult about these scales. When you're talking, I'd like you to try and use the words more, less, and the 2 signs that are on the screen to help you explain. See if you can write some number sentences or some worded sentences to help you. For your challenge, I would like you to think about the second part of the question. If the pineapple is double the weight of the lettuce, how many lettuces would you need to make this statement at the bottom true? Pause the video now and work with your adult to see if you can get to an answer, and then come back to go through it with me when you are ready. Welcome back, Year 2, and great job with your adults on trying to solve this one. Let's go through it together. So to begin with, we can see that the pineapple is heavier because the scales are further down. This means it has more mass. The lettuce, therefore, must be lighter. Therefore, it has less mass. We can use these signs to show our workings. The pineapple weighs more than the lettuce. Or we could say the pineapple is greater than the lettuce. As you can see, I've used this sign greater than or more than. Now, some of you might have said it the other way round. Some of you might have said that the lettuce was less than the pineapple, or the lettuce was less than the pineapple. Well done if you solved this one yourself. Well done. Now let's have a look at the next problem together. Okay, with your adults, I would like you to talk about the vocabulary that is on the screen now. See if you can come up with a definition from each, and if you need to, see if you can use your learning from last week to help you. Welcome back, Year 2. For the next part of your learning, you are going to need a set of balance scales. Now, you might be lucky enough to own a set in your house, something a bit like this. These will move as you add weight to one side. However, if you haven't got balance scales, don't worry, because on the plan you will see that you can make your own using a simple coat hanger and 2 cups or buckets. So if you just get a coat hanger, tie 2 cups or buckets to a piece of string at the end and then attach them onto your coat hanger. You can then hang these off of something, and as you add weight, you'll see that the coat hanger will start to move one way or the other. So whichever one you want to use or have available to you, you can sort that out now and then come back when you're likely now to find 3 objects around your house. Something that's quite small, quite easy to work with, and quite easy to find the mass of. Don't get anything too big, your scales won't cope with it. Go and find these items now and then come back when you're ready. Welcome back, year 2. So I have found 3 items in my house. I found a pen, a pack of post-it notes, and a spoon. And with these 3 items, I would like you to lay them out in front of you. What do you estimate to be the heaviest and the lightest, and put them in order now? So I can do this by feeling them. So I can feel when I hold the post-it note in the pen, the post-it notes are heavier. So I'm going to put my pen down, keep my post-it notes, and pick up my spoon. And I think based on this, my post-it notes are still heavier than my spoon. So I'm going to put my post-it notes down and check my pen and my spoon, and I can see that I think the spoon is heavier. So my order is pen as the lightest, spoon in the middle, and post-it notes as the heaviest. And now I'm going to find out. Okay, year 2, so hopefully now you can see me and my set of scales in front of me. You can see that as I put weight on one side, the needle moves to that end. Same as if I put the other side, it moves again. So we start with it balanced in the middle. Okay, just let them settle and then we'll find out. So let's put the pen on one side. Remember, we thought the pen was the lightest. So I'm going to put the spoon on the other side, and hopefully this side will go down. Perfect. So you can see the pen is lighter than the spoon because the needle has gone this way. Okay, if I take the pen out and put the post-it notes in, tell your adult now what should happen. Brilliant, well done. The post-it note should make the needle come back this way. Let's have a look. Brilliant. As you can see, the post-it notes are much heavier than the spoon. Therefore, my prediction was correct. I'm just going to share the screen with you again so we can see the STEM sentence. Okay, so here we go. The spoon is heavier than the pen, but lighter than the post-it notes. And we can always say it the other way. The spoon is lighter than the post-it notes, but heavier than the pen. Okay, so your challenge, using your balance scales, is to compare the mass of 3 objects. I'm going to do another example with you now using my homemade balance scales so you can see how this works. You will need an adult to help you hold the scales. Okay, year 2, so you can always get an adult to help you, but you need to balance the scales on your hand and make sure they're sitting at roughly the same height. Okay, you can do this by making sure the strings are in roughly the same place. Okay, so this time I've got a 2p coin, I've got a biscuit, and I've got a long spoon this time because I think it might weigh more. So now I can predict again my 3 objects. So just lifting them up, I think the spoon is probably the heaviest now, the 2p is the lightest, and the Twix is in the middle, and I can find this out. Make sure you're not gripping the coat hanger. You need to have it loose on your hand so it's just hanging. And pop 1 in each side. So I'm going to put my 2p, what I think is the lightest, in one side. And as you can see, the coat hanger, when it's still, is bending ever so slightly down on that side. But when I put the spoon in the other side, which I think is the heaviest, look what happens. It's now really clear to see that the spoon is much heavier because the cup is so much further down. That proves to me that my spoon is heavier than my 2p. I now need to find out if the spoon is heavier, like I predicted, than the biscuit bar. So I'm going to take my 2p out. I'm going to leave the spoon in. And when I put my biscuit in, if it goes down further than the spoon, then I know it's heavier, and if it stays up higher, I know it's lighter. Let's have a look. Okay, Now you might not be able to see it very clearly, but my biscuit is ever so slightly lower, but they're very, very close. So that tells me my biscuit is actually slightly heavier than my spoon. So I can now say on my STEM sentence that the spoon is the medium weight. The spoon is heavier than the 2p, but lighter than the biscuit. And the spoon is lighter than the biscuit bar, but heavier than the 2p. Your challenge today is to complete 3 examples of your own. So using your balance scales, choose 3 objects and predict the order of their mass. Then use your balance scales to find out which one's the heaviest and which one's the lightest. And then write down your STEM sentence for each of the 3 sets you do. So you'll have 3 STEM sentences by the end. If you want an extra challenge, you could write the sentence using the less than or greater than sign. The spoon is greater than the 2p, but less than the biscuit bar. Pause your video now and then come back when you're done so we can finish the lesson together. Welcome back, Year 2. That was a really fun lesson where we got to find out the weights of lots of things. Were you surprised by any of the masses of objects you found? Were you surprised about how heavy something was in comparison to something else? You could write some of these down if you fancy it. If you're sitting there needing an extra challenge, there's a couple of questions here that might challenge you. The one on the left requires you to think about the use of cubes. Now, if you don't have cubes, you could use pasta or just 10 of something to see what the difference is. 1 pair is 10 cubes, so you need to use your multiplication to work out what 4 pairs is. How many cubes will balance 1 pineapple? Okay, remember, there's 2 pineapples on that scale, so you need to think about how you can do that. The other question on the right is asking you if you agree with something or not. Read what Tommy and Eva have said carefully and then respond, explaining why using because. This will really challenge you to show your understanding of maths. Well done on your excellent work today. We can't wait to see some of your pictures of your balancing items and your findings of your maths investigation. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow morning where we'll be doing some more work on maths, working specifically with grams. Have a lovely evening and speak to you tomorrow.